there. Hello. Hi. Hi. Welcome back to your friendly neighborhood noob. Of course, I'm friendly. We're back with another hardcore. Minecraft hardcore. Yeah, we're back with that. I mean, last time we didn't do that well. I was terrified, and I suck, and I'm scared, and it was bad. And that friendly died. Yeah. That friendly's gone forever. But either way, we're back with Minecraft Hardcore, and you're with Farmer Friendly. Hi, I'm Farmer Friendly. Nice to meet you. You probably met me before, I'm sure. No? No, you haven't? Oh, okay, well, hi anyway. So yeah, we're gonna jump in. We're gonna get right into it. We're gonna do Minecraft Hardcore. Now, for the first 100 days, I'm going to do a whole... And this time, 100 days. And do a commentary thing. Because we've done 100 days before. We have. We certainly have. So for the first 100 days, I'm just going to do commentary. And then after that, we're going to do it per, project. So the amount of days it takes for that project is the amount of days that we get to. That's gonna how it's work. It's gonna work it that way. I know. A lot of people are gonna be like, but that doesn't make sense. Well, guess what else doesn't make sense? Not liking, subscribing, or sharing with any of your friends. Oh my god, that would be awful. Also, don't forget to eat spaghetti. Anyway, let's get right into it. I'll probably see you next episode, basically. You'll just hear my voice, but you'll see me at the end. And technically the next episode as well. Let's go! It was day 1, and I jumped into this world with hope and bushy-tailed and eyes and stuff, and oh, fire. Oh, that's nice. But my first thing was about survival. And when I saw the village up yonder, I thought to myself, this is the perfect place to start. Villagers are good. We're gonna make a village trader, gonna raid them, gonna take all their stuff. It's gonna be perfect. And that's exactly what I did. I took all their things. I raided all of their houses. I took all the beds, because I knew I'd need them for a villager hole later on. And emptied all their chests, because, well, they didn't need them. I was gonna put them in indentured servitude. I was gonna be their ruler very soon, so there was no point in them needing beds. Unless I suddenly, said they were allowed to sleep. I don't remember saying that, though. But that was what happened on day 1. On day 2, I realized I didn't have stone tools at all, so I collected enough stone to actually get the stone tools, and enough for a furnace as well, because I knew I'd need that later on. I kind of did take a moment to realize why I didn't have stone tools. I mean, it confused me why that wasn't the first thing I went for, but it doesn't matter, Then I went out of my way to get enough dirt so that we could make a little dirt box to put all the villagers in. I didn't want them running away, killing themselves, or, getting killed, so I thought the best option is to trap them. After I had a good amount of dirt, I started to shape out my box, trying to leave enough space. I wasn't entirely sure how big or wide I'd need it to be. I just needed enough to put all the beds in, put all the villagers inside, and not really have to worry about it. Just step away and let them do their thing, probably not come back for 100 days, but who knows? On day 3, I started to worry about my food supplies, running low, so I decided to expand one of the villager farms. I just thought, you know what, they've already got a farm, all I have to do is expand it. So I spent most of the day knocking out the cobblestone, the mossy cobblestone, because I'd probably need them later anyway, they're great for decoration, and replacing it with dirt so that I can turn it into a proper farm. I wasn't too much sure how far I needed it to go out, but, I just needed food. I also had an encounter with a new villager. He just stared at me for a moment. I stood there thinking, what did I do in my life to deserve this? Then went out and collected a whole bunch of wheat seeds out in the wild before coming back and continuing on my farm. I'm proud of this. This'll do. For now. Not forever. We got to figure something else out. Because I'm a farmer, and this is not on. Anyway, back to commentary. Day 4 was all about animal pens. I needed a place to keep my little animals. I need to keep them safe and away from the harsh reality of the world and trap them in pens. It's some things you just sound worse than they are. But I did definitely need a place to keep them. Ah, the beauty of getting animals to go where you want. So much fun. Come here, cows. Now. On day 5, 6, and 7, I started off day 5 by doing my chores, getting my farm, my animals prepared for the day. Cause my cows they're so cute. Look at those cows. Aww. And making sure that they breed. And then I went and did some mining. I first started by doing what I usually do, which is kind of mining down. I know what they say, don't mine down and all that, but I just needed to get to the lowest point, so I decided to mine 2 squares. That way, if I do fall, you know, I have another platform to jump up to. And then putting ladders. Lots and lots of ladders all the way up. Now, I knew I'd have to get to, I think it was minus 56 before I got anything decent, but I think I went down to minus 59 as well. Although I've been told by my friends to go down to minus 56, I personally go to minus 59, and I needed materials. I needed coal, I needed iron, I needed diamonds. Anything that would help with my journey. I also broke into a geode, which was a nice surprise. I definitely could use the amethyst later on, I don't know what for, but they make pretty builds. At the end of the mining session, I found out that I had 63 coal, 51 redstone, 33 lapis, and 20 iron. And I also found something spectacular. It was beautiful. It was tremendous. It was dark and dank and scary, but I knew this was the perfect place for a forever base. The first thing I did on day 8 was actually make a fletching table. It took me a while because I wasn't too sure how to make one, so I went around getting gravel and wood and bows and arrows, just trying to figure out which one of those things actually was needed for a fletching table. It took me half the day, and the rest of the day I ended up just harvesting. I did the same thing on day 9. I started the day by doing a lot of harvesting of all these things that I've created so far, from sugarcane to potatoes to wheat. I wanted them all in one space. And then I went off and got a whole bunch of wood. After setting up shop, or at least putting some workstations, I finally started to do some trades with these villagers. Mainly sticks, because they were the easiest thing to get. While planning my next move, I then went out and got a whole bunch of coal. There was coal all through the lands, and I didn't feel like I needed to go down into the mines to do so. But that did make me decide what I was going to do next. Day 11 was simply spent woodcutting. I'm not kidding, I spent days 11 just running around cutting down as much wood as possible because I was going to trade it by turning it into sticks because of the Fletcher. At least that's what I told myself. I didn't realize how much wood I was actually cutting down and how much time I was spending doing it. On day 12, I started the day by planting a whole bunch of saplings. I thought it was a good idea having the actual spruce trees closer to home. Also, I kind of wanted some of that puzzle. I like decorating with it sometimes. I just wasn't too sure how far they had to be from each other. Then I went down my ladder into the mines. That's right, I went all the way down to the bottom this time. I got 66 redstone, 4 gold, and 2 diamonds. But how excited was I when I finally had diamonds? It wasn't the luckiest haul, I must admit. I've had better, especially at the start, but it was still good enough. So I just got only 2 diamonds. Only 2. This is annoying. I need one more. One more, come on. On day 13 and 14, I decided to explore to the north. I was getting a little bit antsy, a little bit crazy in my space, so I decided to go invade someone else's space. I even went as far as to find some caves with a lot of coal and iron, and I mined the hell out of it, getting 126 iron and 235 coal. I don't know why. I decided I needed a lot of it because it is the starting stuff, and I was going to need a lot of tools and things to smelt with, so, you know, in my mind it made sense. I don't know so much now, looking back on it, if it did. Does that really matter? I don't think so. On day 15, I got obsessed with getting more emeralds. I went and did more and more and more trades, going crazy. I needed those trades. I needed these guys to give me so many emeralds. Mainly I was actually worrying about the stone crafters because I wanted materials to build with. However, trades, emeralds. And then, of course, I did go and chop down a whole bunch of trees because, you know, I needed more wood for those sticks. Once again, on day 16, I went down into the mines. Now, I did go down deep into the mines. I decided I need some more materials. I kept getting in the mindset that I needed more, and I've always had that kind of feeling when I play video games. I'm like a collector. I love getting all the achievements, all the mounts, skins, everything like that. So when it comes to Minecraft, I always get too much of the material, and this was no exception. In my mining session, I did end up getting 8 diamonds, and also had a creeper scare, where a creeper came up behind me and I almost died, but I was safe. and moving on to the next day. On day 17, 18, and 19, I collected the materials for my house, my first starter build, and then started to build it. I wanted a farmhouse. I wanted something simple, something nice, something I've done before, but I can easily replicate, mainly because this was not the area that I was going to be building in for my mega build or my huge city area. Also, I did make a few mistakes, which was kind of embarrassing, being that I've built this same build probably multiple times in different variations, but it came out pretty okay. I then spent day 20, 21, and 22 focusing on my villages. I made sure I had all the workstations, them leveling up. I did a lot of trading. I went and collected a lot of the different materials, from sticks to clay, just making sure that I had stonemasons at top level and trying to get the Fletchers to be as high as possible, as well as trading some of the wheat I had gotten from my farming villages. Day 23, 24, and 25, I actually went exploring again. I was looking out for materials that I could use for my farmhouse because it had become my main focus. I wanted a proper place to live, and I was being a little bit cooped up inside the village house. I needed more space, I needed more storage, and I wanted to have at least something done by the end of the 50 days, because by the end of the 100 days, I would have moved on to my mega build, and, you know, this farmhouse wouldn't be that important anymore. I went and collected a lot of clay, wood, gravel, sand, pretty much anything I could get my hands on, and any new type of wood, sapling, or flower. Day 26, 27, and 28, I literally spent the time trading, getting more materials, trading, getting more materials, trading, getting more materials. I don't think anyone understands until they do it themselves how much time, work, and effort it does to get a good villager trader with all the villagers, not just books. Because sure, you can have sugarcane turned into paper and then trade them to the you know, mending villager or a silk-tucked villager, and it's all great and fine. However, that can lead to some problems because you've only focused on them and not the other villagers. And yeah, that's what I've learned today. It was rough. On day 29, I was starting a new session and I had a bad day. So instead of going and doing the roof straight away, I decided to destroy a house near my farmhouse. I just wanted it gone. Not entirely sure why. I just need to destroy something instead of building something. I need to tear something down and feel a little bit better about myself. You know, knocking down a villager's home. Hey, they had their little dirt hut. They were fine. Plus they got the materials back. It was great. Then after that, I had the time to actually fill in the roof with the bricks. I thought it was a good look, you know, having some spruce, some oak, some bricks. I liked the color scheme. I was even gonna, you know, mix in some granite, but I couldn't find enough. Plus, it really, it's just fine. It's fine. You don't need to mix things in. You don't need to do blends, and yeah, let's prove this. I liked the look at the end of the day. On day 30 and 31, I got all the materials together to start doing the detailing on the building. Even if it wasn't going to be my forever home, I still wanted it to look good. It's going to be in my hardcore world forever. Even if I die, it's still going to be here. It's going to live longer than I am. So I decided to get all the normal pieces I would usually do for this kind of build. You know, getting my trapdoors, my signs, my buttons, making it all look very nice. And again, yes, I know, I'm gonna die eventually and this will go to waste, but isn't that the point? Living with the now and living in the now of the beautiful build? Either way, I got it done in 2 days. After so much building, I decided on day 32 that I'd actually do something a little more peaceful, which was plant some potatoes. Potatoes are actually one of my favorite forms of food in Minecraft, getting the baked potatoes, and I just realized that I didn't really have any, so I ran around planting as many as I could and tried to keep up with the demand supply, you know. And then I went out exploring into the world, because I deserved it after a huge build. Day 33, I ended up going out to get some more sand, as I definitely needed it for glass and other items. I thought I had enough, I honestly did, but I realized I was not collecting as much as I thought I did. It was kind of upsetting, because when I went out exploring on day 32, I actually did come across quite a large amount of sand, like dunes and everything, but I went out into this new biomes and found what I needed to get. I also found some bamboo, which I definitely wanted. I did not expect to find bamboo not in a jungle biome, but thanks to the data pack, that's what I found. And I knew I would need it for scaffolding. Day 34, and I thought I'd do something different. Trading. I did trading. I did more trading because I could. And I wanted more emeralds.
I actually wanted to start working towards getting some better armor, and through, you know, the armor smiths, you can actually get some pretty okay diamond armor. And hey, it's easy to get. You don't have to go mining for it, and you don't have to waste any diamonds. Also, you get, like, small enchantments, so I thought, why the hell not? On day 35, I finally got to the diamond armor, which was really bad. The enchantments were actually terrible, but it was better than nothing, and I decided that I was going to dedicate my time to getting as much emeralds as possible so I could buy every piece of armor. I also went down into the mines for mining. I wasn't too sure why I went down to the mines for mining. I don't even have in my notes why I went down there. I just did. Sometimes I just like to mine. On day 36, I found the perfect place for my storage. I decided to put it in the attic. Yep, that's right, I decided to put it in the attic. I thought it was the best place to do it. I had a few problems trying to figure out what I wanted to do exactly, like how I wanted it to look, but I believe I came up with something that was okay. After all, this wouldn't be where the storage would be in like 100 days. The storage would move and there'd be a new storage place. This was just temporary. I just needed the place to be functional. I just needed a place to put all my storage and stop living out of a villager's house. I was starting to feel pathetic. Just a tiny bit pathetic. On day 37, I had the wonderful and tedious job of moving the storage into the storage area. I obviously had a whole bunch of chests inside of the villager house that now needed to be sorted out into the attic. And I didn't want to just shove everything in, so I had some form of order. It wasn't great. It was kind of like food in the food and greenery in the greenery and wood in the wood, but that was pretty much all the order I had the time for, and it was really all the order I needed until we ended up going to my forever home. Day 39, 40, and 41. But on day 39, I started by getting the armor from the villagers. I bought them even though they had very few enchants. I even enchanted my diamond sword and my diamond pick, and then I went down to do some mining. I, again, was not too sure what I was looking for, but I definitely would need more deep slate for my future builds, and I wanted more diamonds because I wanted to be able to make some more armor that I could enchant and put together. I just wanted better enchantments, and the best way to do that is enchanting armor, you know? It's the way of doing things. Plus, you know, mining is fun and peaceful, and it's exactly what I needed. The start of day 42, I really need to find a place for my next base, the big one, the place that I would build off of. And I reminded myself of that beautiful cave that I found earlier in the episode. So, I dug down. I needed a staircase because I didn't want to drop down, and this is hardcore, so I didn't want to die. And I would need a better way of getting down in the future anyway, which I would eventually change, don't worry. It was perfect. It was exactly what I wanted for the build I had in mind. I wanted something that was underground, but still an entire civilization. I took inspiration from people like Thwip and some of my older builds that I had built in the past. Not that they had really seen the light of day on a series, so it'll be like you're seeing it for the first time from me at least. Now that I had found the perfect candidate for the perfect cave to live in, I had to move my things again. Yep. That's right, had to take all my storage and start moving them into chests. My brain almost couldn't handle it. I just thought to myself, oh god, not again. I would have to, first of all, go put the chests where they need to be, and then collect everything up from all the boxes and take them with me. I was not looking forward to it at all. And look, I had to be honest, I thought this was going to be a simple trip. I thought I was just going to be taking everything, it wouldn't take that long, I would be fine. You know, 1 day, 2 days maybe. However, to move everything, and I do mean everything, and to get everything ready, like getting materials for the build down below, it took 4 days. So day 43, 34, 45, and 46, I spent getting all the materials that I'd need for the build down below. Or at least some of the build down below, and all my storage to be moved over. And what, pray tell, did I do for the last 4 days? 47, 48, 49, and 50. Well, I decided I had built a house, I had moved storage, I had got villagers, I had a farm, I had cattle, I had everything I needed, but I hadn't taken the time to just have a break, and sometimes that's what you really need. So I took the days to just fish, enjoy myself, get some books, some lily pads, name tags, things I would need in the future, and just relax. I wanted to start this episode off with something big. I wanted to jump into my big build and just get it done. So from day 51 to day 58, I cleared out as much as I possibly could of the area, then started doing the building. I decided on a terracotta and dark oak kind of feel. I've done it before, as I said, in another build. It was actually a practice build. I was just practicing random building pieces and tried new things. And this is one of the things that I really enjoyed building. So I wanted to kind of take it and go further with it, push it farther, make more pieces of it. So it's kind of like this underground between an alley, maybe like Elizabethan or Victorian kind of age. It really depends on how you want to look at it. But I was enjoying it. I was enjoying the style, I was enjoying the feel of it, and I was able to get a lot of the materials because of the clay and dark oak being so easy to find because of the dark oaks nearby in the mushroom biome. However, on day 59, I ran into an issue. I wanted some flowering azalea bushes, or blossoming azalea bushes. I needed them. I needed the normal ones too to kind of give it a blend. But then I realized I had no moss. I had no moss whatsoever. I don't know why I had no moss, and that meant I had no azalea trees, or azalea saplings, or azalea anything. So I had to go out into the world, exploring all the different biomes that have come with the data pack, hoping that one of them would have an azalea tree of any kind, or that one would utilize moss. Unfortunately, I didn't until the very night time where I found a shipwreck that had moss inside of it. It was very lucky. I was stressed up until that point because I was like, I've gone an entire day wasting all this time. I'm pretty sure you can guess what I did on day 60. I took a piece of moss, placed it in an area I didn't really need yet, and then bone mealed the hell out of it. That's right, we got so much bone meal up in there, I had so much moss, I even got some saplings. And then I decided, of course, to plant those saplings, moss bone meal them, and then cut down the trees while getting as many leaves as I possibly could with some shears. I felt so good. Moss is one of my favorite blocks, and always has been. Just the idea that it's like a grass block that mobs won't grow on, and you can grow grass on it, and beautiful plants, there's a new tree involved with it, there's roots, there's all kinds of stuff. It's a great block and a great addition. I cannot sing the praises of moss block enough. But I shall. In fact, I'm gonna go get a song right now. No, we don't have time. Oh, okay, well, I'll stop. Day 61, I've decided to start on the road. Now, I think all important places and villages and cities need roads, because we're on the road, people flying by. Okay, I get it. Most of my jokes are SpongeBob, but I was brought up on SpongeBob. And then I did some nature decorations, put in some moss at the bottom, did some beautiful azaleas hanging from the roofs. Oh, it was wonderful. I really brought a nature feeling. Yeah, that's what I meant to say. That. On day 62, I realized something. I had made a big mistake when it came to the road. That's right, I had actually made it wider than it needed to be. That meant breaking down the entire road and making it again. Woo! I also decided to add street lamps because it was getting rather dark down there and I didn't want to clutter the entire area with torches all the time. I just don't like torch clutter. I mean, lanterns are fine, but they're hard to hide. So, no. I also started building a new floor on one of the buildings. I wanted to get it ready for the next day because I was thinking it's time to go higher. It's time to think bigger. It's time to think mega builder. Mega bigger? Yeah, that. It was time to think bigger. On day 63, I was starting to feel a little bit bored of the build. It wasn't that it was boring. It was kind of like I wanted to move on to something else, try to use some ideas on something else. And yes, I know it has only been 63 days, but sometimes my low attention span can get me. Sometimes I have a high one, sometimes I have a low one. So I started building frames for the new build, and I wanted to use spruce instead of dark oak just to give it a little bit of variety. But the entire time, my dog was staring at me. I don't know why. Just 'cause. On day 64, I abandoned my new building and went back to the old and decided to do some detailing. I thought maybe if I did detailing, it would make me like it more. I mean, I still like it. I just thought I'd make me like it more. And so I went in with some slabs, with my trapdoors, with my stair pieces, and with my fence pieces. All of the color of dark oak, of course, because, dark oak's poles. Gotta do that right. And then I made the windowsills. And the window corner kind of things. I don't know, I just detailed it, okay? On day 65, I started focusing on the first building I started, putting more detail by clearing out the space behind the third level and then putting a frame in for the third level. I decided I wanted to finally finish it. I wanted to put some sort of third floor and then a roof on top. However, knowing that I had to put a roof into the mountain was going to be complicated. It was time. On day 66, I put in my first roof. Well, first I had to kind of chip away at the stone that was there and then build a roof shape around the stone so it looked like there was a roof, but it was really just a roof shape shoved into stone. But hey, I built a roof, and that's what matters in this moment right now. I built something. But no, it was fun to build my first roof. Friendly the Builder. Day 67, and I was determined. I was actually really determined to finish this build. I wanted at least one of these buildings to be finished. I realized that I'm the kind of person that likes to do a whole bunch of work and then not completely finish it until later. Like Grian with the back of his builds, and pretty much any Hermitcraft player with the back of their builds. Wow, okay. I'm kind of like not doing the insides of my builds or the tops of my builds, or something's always unfinished. So this time, I decided to get the outside detailing just beautifully done. I wanted the same as all over the place, just this symmetrical feeling all around. And I did! It felt good. It felt good. I pressed on, and in day 68, 69, 70, and 71, I finished the build. Yes, I finished the main one that I did in the first part. Only that bit though, and I even started working on a fish tank, which I don't exactly know why I wanted to put a fish tank there. I was just like, tropical fish are nice. Let's just have a little watery area for no apparent reason. I'm sure I can work into the build later on. Day 72 and 73, I decided to fill in the tank with some sand. I wanted to give it a nice underwater feel. And I also filled in the entire thing with water. I did put a platform above it so that I just had to fill an area, then I could break the platform and the water will just cascade down. It was the easiest way to do it. And then I decided for the top, I'd do a dirt top. That way I could put a garden up there or a nice seating area, just something pretty. I didn't want it to be just, you know, just a top, just the ceiling, that's it. I also realized I need fish. On day 74, I went out into the world. I remembered that there was an ocean nearby that I had found the moss, so I went out there to look for tropical fish because I did see some while I was down there. I then got all the other decorations I would need for the inside of my tank and got to it, decorating it the best I could for now. I was not exactly thrilled with it, but it was kind of nice to have against the other build, especially while planning what I was going to do next. Day 75, 76, and 77, I spent the time doing the finite details, the window sills, the window corner things, the actual window panes, staircases up to each floor, ladders up to each floor. I wanted it all done on this center piece. Now, yes, I know there was going to be heaps more pieces, and this was just a small piece of a very humongous cake. It's like those, you know, those sheet cakes, you have 100 pieces. Yeah, this is one. This is one. But I was super excited for the future, and I just wanted to get this done with so I could move on to my next builds. And I was kind of getting a bit annoyed that my storage was just out in the open, so I've got to plan something for that in the future too. On day 78, I decided to explore the cave. I mean, I had spent so much time in here building and having fun, I never thought to just spend some time and explore further down. I actually found quite a lot of materials, which was great. I also found almost death a few times, but who cares? Exploration is about that, right? On day 79, I finally started on the other side. Like, I had already made a frame, but it was time to actually work on the build. And I thought I was starting great, I was starting heavy, I got the walls in, I felt so good. I even started putting detail into the windowsills like I like to do. And then I thought to myself, I had a moment, just a moment, where I thought to myself, what about stripped wood? Like, hear me out. This is supposed to be a village. This is supposed to be pretty and nice, and stripped wood. So after deciding whether I should or shouldn't do it, I was like, screw it, I'm doing it. I spent the rest of the time just stripping everything. And yeah, it did take quite a lot of time. After stripping so many logs, on day 80, I went back and started doing the frame on the new build. I decided, let's do this. Let's go higher. Let's go bigger. And yeah, this would not this enthusiasm would not stay the entire time. However, I did do the frame of the new build, and I got really excited about it. Ready for day 81. Why, you may ask, was I excited for day 81? I put walls in. That's it. I just put walls in. I decided they needed walls. Like, I couldn't just leave the frame there for the long period of time that I probably wouldn't touch this again. Like, let's be honest, it's probably not going to be touched to, I don't know, next episode. So I put walls in, and I felt good about myself for all 5 seconds. On day 82, 83, and 84, I went to this build that I had been, working on, and I decided to give it some decorations. I thought a little bit of flowers, a little bit of trapdoor action. How about some windowsills? How about some window corners? We need it all! Mainly because I wanted to move on to a different project that I finally had in my head, and that was the storage room. But I'm getting ahead of myself. We had to get this building done first, and it took me 3 days to just complete every little bit and go, yep, step away, I like this, let's move on. On day 85, I took a moment. I just kind of looked around, did a few things, but nothing of an importance. I just realized how much I had done was so much more than I did the first time I did 100 days. I just don't know how. I don't know how I did so bad the first time. Oh well. Day 86 and day 87. On day 86, I kind of sat back and thought about what I had to do next. As I said, I was planning a storage room. Now I had to look at all the materials I had, and I realized I did not have what I wanted. I wanted to use granite, so I went out and got as much as I could, came back and started planning out the area. I started mining out as much as I could and then placing in some walls, and that got me all the way through to the end of day 87. I was really content on making something that kind of worked with the rest of the builds, but was bigger and wider and had more space, and was kind of its own build in itself. I was, for some reason, getting a library that had lots of those logs and journals, old newspapers that you pull out and you put into a table. I don't know why. Day 88 and 89, I finally knew what I was going to do. So I started on the walls of the bottom floor. Actually, it took me quite some time, to be honest, to get the pattern right, and I was very confused. Look, I was doing the frames, I was doing the walls, gotta put the granite and smooth granite at the right places. I hated it a few times, and this was actually my third attempt in the recording. Yeah, I was doing great. I was feeling so confident. Maybe I should tell myself that, though. Either way, after talking to past me, we settled our differences, and day 88 and 89 was spent filling this to the walls. Wait, no. Is it brim or walls? Oh, who cares? I finished it. Woo! Day 90 and 91. On day 90, I worked on the flooring. I got some green terracotta from the stonemason that I had been leveling up. And moss, well, I got moss earlier. You guys saw that. And I finished up the floor on the bottom floor. And then I went outside and started to do the windows on both floors. It actually took me the rest of day 90 and into 91. I just wanted to have it all done, from the outside at least. Just a nice little look. Day 92, I decided to put in all the storage. That's right, it was storage placement time. And because I am an official barrel buddy, I used barrels instead of chests. And because I just find them so much easier to place around, plus, chests can't open up in the top part, and it's just like, yeah, I don't want that hassle. So, it was barrel time. Day 93, it was time to get into detailing. I'd do it with all the builds, doing the windowsills, doing the corners, putting in nature, flowers, etc. It just needed to get done. It's like the final touches in my eyes, or just before I do the roof usually. And I just wanted to have all the windowsills, there were window glass panes put in, especially because I was going to deal with a little bit of a problem the next day. Day 94, I started sorting out my storage. Now, I had assigned everything a kind of space in my head with item frames, and I even started to collect everything up and slowly put them where they need to be. I wanted separate spaces for each one. I had enough space to do it, so why the hell not? And then a creeper decided to pop in and say hello. I did not hear it coming. It blew up a big chunk of my build, and I was kind of had a heart racing moment. I could have died if I wasn't paying enough attention, or maybe if I wasn't wearing armor. If there was just one thing different, I would be dead. Day 95. I started off day 95 by finishing off the windows. That's right, I had missed some windows in the top right area. and I felt very embarrassed, but here we are. Me admitting that I did not finish the windows. Then I put in the actual glass panels, which I thought I put in the glass panes. I did not. Again, I am very ashamed. Very ashamed. And lastly, I finished it off by putting a wooden layer up above that would soon become the roof. Not yet, but soon. It would become the roof. I'm only filled in the area that so I wouldn't have another creeper dropping down on me, because I had like 2, and I was like, oh, this is fun. And one of them blew up. The other one died. I murdered it. But it deserved it, so it's fine. It's time. That's right. It's time. Day 96 and 97 was spent on sorting out my storage, getting it done, getting down to brass taxes and making sure that my storage room was functional. I needed it done before 100 days. I needed everything done before 100 days. I wanted my projects finished so I could start something new, or at least add on to the old ones, because they're kind of connected buildings. But whatever. It needed to be done, and that is exactly what I did. In only 2 days. It usually takes me 3. Day 98 and 99. I went mining. I like mining. It's peaceful. It's nice. I decided that's how I wanted to end things, you know? I wanted to go down into the world and just do some mining. I know, I actually do find mining very peaceful, and I went down and found 33 diamonds, which was really lucky. I think with my looting 2 pickaxe, it was great. I do feel like in the next couple of episodes, I had to focus on getting better gear. I know, duh, but also maybe finding a spawner of some kind, so I have some form of XP coming in every so often, because that'd be nice too. But it's fine, it's fine. That is for future me to figure out. I came back into the world, and I was nervous. I was a little scared, a little frightened. I was back in hardcore after playing so many SMPs and dying a little bit on the SMPs. I wasn't allowed to do that now. So for the first day, I decided I would just mine some andesite. I needed to clear the area for builds that were going to go in that direction, and I just needed some time to kind of take it all in, get in the right mindset, tell myself that I could not die and this is never going to happen. Especially because I had come close and like twice, I think, and it wasn't like super close, but I was still thinking to myself, I need to be prepared for this. So day 100 was just simply clearing andesite. I kept on with the kind of peaceful mindset, trying to get my head into it, and did something that I enjoy doing, which is making roads. I love making roads because it's just like the different designs you can do, the way it kind of plans out a village, because obviously you can make the roads first, keep some spaces, and then build buildings inside of them, whether they be frames, whether they be like you might decide to put a park. It really doesn't matter, but I do like building roads. Day 102 and 103. I decided on a new frame. I decided on a new build and a new area. I was sitting there thinking to myself, okay, I've got to start something. I've got to start progressing, you know, make something new. So I started to build a whole bunch of frames for a new building, and I was a little excited because, you know, new builds always do that for someone who is a major builder and not a huge hardcore person. So I knew this was a safe thing to do, and yeah, it only took me two days to kind of get a whole bunch of new frames set out, a whole bunch of new ideas like set on that I was set on. So I was like, yeah, okay, this is good. We've got it ready. And I knew I could fill it in as we go. I knew I could detail it as we go, especially if I needed to take some time off from other projects. Day 104. Day 104. So after putting in all those frames, I decided to also put some walls in. I was trying to contemplate what else to do next, so I thought the walls would give me time. I was using a selection of different colored terracotta, as well as bricks. Now, I did have to get clay for those bricks. That was a little bit tedious. However, it did seem that I had already collected some. I don't know when or where, and honestly I'd have to look back over the footage to figure it out, but I was able to put in as many walls as possible in one day. On day 105, I saw that I needed more roads. I wanted to kind of push myself to the edge of the like the cliff area in the cave, so I decided to build the road outwards. I wasn't entirely sure I wanted everything to be yet, but I needed something to kind of shape the area, something to give me an outline. That was until I almost died by falling off the edge. It was a bit of a shock to the system and kind of woke me up to the fact that you're doing hardcore! Don't die! Day 106 was a weird one, because I kind of came to the end of one of the roads and looked out into the voidish, scary-ish part of the cave that was not lit up at all, and thought to myself, what if I had a bridge that went in that direction? Honestly, I had no idea what I was going to build at the end of the bridge because it wouldn't hit any solid piece of land. However, I wanted a bridge. And you know what? I made the bridge. I did. I was like, you know what? To hell with it. I'm going to build some more road. But I did take a very good hard look and think to myself, does this need a bridge? Does anything need a bridge? Do we build the bridge and get over it or not? Day 107, 108, and 109. Now you're probably wondering why the 3 days were clumped together. Well, with the bridge, I kind of wanted it to go all the way down. You know how the bridge has like, I guess, pillars that kind of keep it up? I wanted the same thing, but I wanted it all the way around the edge of my builded area. So I started to create these pillars that arched, and I attached them to the bridge. I thought, you know, it won't be going that far down, I'll be fine. Some of them went all the way down to deep slate, and that was a little bit concerning. I was like, really? I've just wasted a whole bunch of stone brick trying to make this look good. At the end of the day, it did look better than what I would have happened if I just left it there floating in the air. Plus, yeah, you know, a bridge needs pillars. Otherwise, it's just a road. A floating road. Either way, I got it done within 3 days, which was actually good because I kept jumping into the darkness and almost being killed by things, which was great. But it got done. Speaking of jumping down into places, day 110, 111, 112, I decided that I wanted to get some mining done. I needed ores, I needed material, I also wanted to explore the area beneath me. I explored as much as I possibly could, lighting up the area, which kind of made me feel a bit safer down there, and I found a whole bunch of materials, including some diamonds, which was really nice. And then I found something that kind of made me both angry and excited. I found this beautiful, huge cave with like levels and layers and a hole up to the sky, and I thought to myself, ah, shit, why didn't I build here? Unfortunately, the series has already started, so I can't. However, I thought, what if I still was able to build there? I would need a way in which to get to the area, though. It was confusing for me at first, because I'm like, how can I do this? What should I do? And I kind of took a few moments while just doing some more mining to just think about it and what I should do and what will progress this hardcore world forward, what will look good. And then I made a decision. Day 113, I was doing it. It was happening. I had to find a way to connect to both my areas. It meant I had to figure out how far the cave was from my area already where I was building, and whether I could build a tunnel to get to it. Or whether the tunnel would just go completely past the area because it's too far over. That was my biggest fear. I kind of broke through a few times, digging all the way until I actually found any opening, and I did find it 3 times. I kept moving across until I found the perfect position that would actually match up with the road. Because I had already built it and I didn't want to have to kind of maneuver the road around just to make it work. Either way, I found the perfect path to this new area. I knew that there was going to be no way that I was going to start any building in the new area. I knew there was no point doing that when I hadn't even finished the starter area, my starter zone, whatever you want to call it. My little village, I hadn't finished it yet. So instead of going off and building more things over there, I decided, you know what? I will continue on building. And I did. I continued on doing some building in the main area, getting a few details done before starting new builds. On day 115, I came to the realization that I didn't actually have that many materials left. I had very little wood, which is an annoying thing for me because I keep forgetting to cut down trees. And it kind of sucks because I actually had a mod added to this that just made it so it's instant cut down. And you'd think since I made it so easy on myself, I would do it more. But no. Instead, I went up to the surface and started planting some saplings and cutting down some trees. I'm glad I thought of it because I definitely would need it in the future. Like, a lot of wood in the future. I make too big of builds sometimes. Day 116 and 117, I actually spent the time detailing the builds that I had already finished. I love detailing. I feel like it's that extra little bit that brings the building to life. I also find that with if you don't do detailing or it just looks like a plain square with a roof, and a door and some plain windows. It's not enough for me. It personally. And there were so many builds that I hadn't done the detailing on yet. I had done the frame, I filled in the walls, made the windowsills, and that was it. I just stepped away from it and went and did another build because I wanted to have progression. However, the little details do matter, and they do look nice. So, I got on that. On day 118 and 119, I actually was back onto roads. Now, the reason for this is I was actually going to start going towards the new area. I would have to build a tunnel. There was no way around it. I couldn't like build some weird contraption or have nether portals that linked up to certain parts. No, it had to be a tunnel. In order to do that though, I had to finish off the roads in the area. So I finished off as much of the roads as I possibly could, including the road leading up to the tunnel. I also realized the job that was ahead of me. I would have to clear out every piece of stone and andesite and ore all the way to the new place. Not only that, I would then have to fill it up. I also realized that I wanted a tunnel that was spacious, which meant more clearing. I just kept putting on the obstacles for myself and making myself not want to do it. Oh, it was awful. Either way, I did get it done and looked at the project ahead of me with absolute terrified eyes. My eyes were just widening and I was like, no, please don't make me do this. Day 120. 121, 122, 123, and 124. I told you it was going to take a long time to get this project done. I looked at the project ahead of me and was terrified at first. I knew I'd have to clear out a ridiculous amount. I believe it was like 6 or 7 high and then about 7 to 9 wide, all the way to the other side, and it took at least 2.5 days just to do that. Then I had to get the materials, which was a bit of a nightmare too. Getting all of the roads built underneath, and then doing the walling. But when I stood back and looked at this tunnel, as simple and as plain as it was, I felt good. I felt good looking at this tunnel and going, you know what, I did that. I did that. I feel okay with this. However, clearing out that much drives the boy insane.
Well, I built a tunnel. I just thought I'd pause the recording and narrating and just let you know I built a tunnel. Continue, narrator friendly.
On day 125, I took a more simple project. I just started putting up some frames for some new builds. I tried to think about what I wanted to use material-wise to make the walls, and I decided, why not use sandstone? I don't actually use sandstone very much. Come to think of it, I cannot think of one build that I've used sandstone in, but it was something different for me. I thought, let's try. Let's use it as an experiment. If you can't experiment in hardcore, where are you supposed to experiment? But then I realized I don't have enough sand. Ah, yes, day 126. You can imagine what I did. I didn't have enough sand in the last day, so I went out and got lots of sand. Now, I wouldn't only need it for sandstone. Like, I wasn't just going out for sandstone. I would also need it for the windows. I needed glass for the windows, which would have been nice, but yeah, I had to go out and I cleared all the space in my inventory except for my hotbar and was like, this is all I need. This is all I have to take with me. And then I ran out of shovels. Day 127, I actually had to go back and get some more shovels. I came with diamond ones this time, which I was proud of myself. I finally came with some diamonds. However, I was a little bit annoyed I had to go all the way back and then come, you know, just to get the shovels and then come all the way to collect the sand again. It took a lot of time. It was a wasted time. I should have taken more shovels. In fact, I should have taken diamond shovels instead of iron because it would have been a lot more productive. It would have been better scheduled. I don't know. I'm terrible with time. Who cares? But I got the sand I needed and headed home. Day 129. It was that day, the day I decided to be experimental. I looked at the build, realized I need to make sandstone, and I realized, I'm like, okay, so I'm just gonna use sandstone. It's gonna be fine. I'm just gonna use sandstone in the walls. Looked at the sandstone, I was like, okay, I'm not gonna use that. So I had to go and put it in the furnace, smelt it down to some smooth sandstone, because there was no way in hell I was using normal sandstone. Then I started laying in the walls, and it started to feel a lot better. I was a little more confident, and knew that I'd have to do some weird kind of detailing with this, or choose the right colors, or something. Because sandstone is strange. I've never used it before, and I may never use it again. Who knows? But yeah, finally got this done. Lo and behold, I had to come back on day 130 and 131 just to do the detailing on the sandstone build. Oh, it was good. I just used oak. I was like, you know what? Don't overcomplicate things. Don't make it too hard. If you overthink it, it's going to come out looking like some sort of weird contraption that you end up throwing away or never looking at again or never detailing. You're like, you know what? I'm done. It's never going to be touched. It's just going to be the eyesore of my entire village, or I just knock it down. But I decided to detail it with oak, being that the frame was made of oak as well. It was simple, easy, got it done within 2 days. I don't know about you guys, but I really don't like torches. So on day 132, I decided it was time to get rid of all the torches, or at least most of them. I understand there's going to be a lot of torches inside the houses because I haven't filled them yet, but I need to get rid of the torches. So I started looking at the design that I had for the lamps, trying to figure out if I had to tweak them at all, because I didn't want to jump in the deep end and go, I'm filling the whole entire place with street lamps, and then hating it and going, nope. Then I went and got all the materials I needed and started making some street lamps all over the place. Slowly getting rid of all the torches. It felt so good. Feels so good. I hate torches. I'm a lantern guy. Day 133. All it says is that I collected dirt and placed dirt. ... Fun. Smiley face. This sucks. Don't really think I have anything else to add to that, and just, I got dirt, placed dirt. Good job. I realized that I needed more wood. So on day 134, I went out and did so. I planted a whole bunch of saplings and then cut the hell of them down. Yeah, it was fun. I even have a little bit of a time lapse. Yeah, like a good time lapse. Look at those trees. Look at them be planted and grow. Oh, it's so good. You know, this would be extra fun with like some clown music or something. If only I could have put clown music. As only I could have found some good clown music that wasn't copyrighted. Either way, I got my wood, so I'm happy. It was on day 135 I started to question my sanity. I don't know what it was. The day 35, I felt like, why am I doing this to myself? I don't like stress. Hardcore is the most stressful thing. And yet I'm doing this. I'm not hating it because I'm liking the building aspect. But if I die, I'm going to be so upset. I'm going to be so annoyed. And people are going to call me a noob, which I kind of am. Oh, and then I went and built some more frames and, you know, planted some saplings. But other than that, I had an existential crisis. I think that's the more important part of day 135. I would like to say that I'm a very patient person, but I'm not. I'm patient with people, not so much actions. But on day 136, I wanted to do a bit of exploring. First of all, I need to make sure I had enough materials. I went out and cut down all the trees, got what I needed, and then started to consider what I'd need to take out for the next day. I didn't have enough time by the end. I had cut it all down and replanted to really, you know, look at the sun and go, oh, that's fine. I could just take out of bed. What if zombies killed me? You know, what if that's the way I die? No, thank you. Plan for tomorrow. And I know what they say, do today what you could do tomorrow, but no. Speaking of tomorrow, day 137. That's right. I wanted to explore the world. I wanted to get out there. In fact, I ended up spending day 137, 138, and 139 exploring. It was fun. I have a lot of notes on this. I really do. Like, if you can hear the paper in the background, that's me really looking at these notes. I did get a whole bunch of materials, which was nice. I did bump into some things that had, like, things I needed, obviously. I found floating islands. Now, the first one I found was kind of like it was a pumpkin island. It had pumpkins on top of it. I climbed up to that one from this water spout that had been coming down, so that's the only one that I could actually get up to. The second island was actually, well, I couldn't get to it, but it did seem to be the same sort of vibe. There was a ice island, which I think was the fourth one. It was like icicles like dripping down. Again, no water, even though it's an ice-based one. And number 3, the island number 3, was actually had the biggest island. It was humongous. Had I have known, I probably would have built on it, but I didn't. I didn't know there were sky islands. I found 4 sky islands in the ocean. I will say though, going underneath the sky islands, it was like pitch black. It was almost frightening. And then I found a treasure map. I actually found like an area that had a treasure map in it, and I was like, oh, a boat. Oh, a treasure map. And I went and got the treasure. It was not that hard to find, and I was really happy with that because I was like, I rarely am able to find the treasure maps. I did have to wander around a little bit because I'm not very good at reading maps. I'm terrible at geography. If you asked me where Turkey was close to, I would be like, Europe? Because I'm really bad at geography. But I had fun. It was actually really nice to get out into the world, see what the data packs have done, and see these floating islands. Day 140, I got back home, and I felt safe. I started building new walls of buildings that were close to the edge. There was all the frames I had built from before. I started to fill in with the terracotta walls. I really like terracotta. I do not know why. Badlands is so hard to find, and yet I love terracotta. And doing the whole clay smelt thing, so irritating. But I did find what I needed, and I had enough materials from before. I had been going out and collecting randomly in episodes, and that's why when you're like, oh, why did building roads take you 2 episodes? Because I took a break to go get materials. Like, that's my thing. But yeah, it was really nice to start actually working on the builds on the edge. Day 141, 142, and 143, what I ended up doing was stripping all the logs on the frames, placing in the flooring, and getting as many of the windows done as possible. Just the glass. I just wanted to, or at least shell it out, I believe. I got some glass, but I don't think I put it in. I only shelled out the area. Because when I was building the walls, I just built a whole block. I didn't figure out where I wanted to put the windows. I was like, yeah, I'll figure it out later. That's for future friendly to figure out. But I did get a whole heap of it done, and I was really proud of myself. Though the future was going to be very unbright, having to put in roofs and detailing. Speaking of, day 144, we got onto detailing! Woo! That's right. I actually got into detailing. I used the colored wood that was close to what the frame was used. So if it was dark oak, I used dark oak accents. If it was spruce, I'd use spruce accents. Just that kind of vibe. Putting in the windows, doors, frames, all the bits around the frame itself. Trying to make it look good. I wanted it to be detailed just as much as the other ones, and I wanted to give that vibe of it being finished. I know the inside wasn't filled, I know the inside wasn't done, there's no decorations in there, but the outside is deceiving because it looks finished. Day 145, 146, and 147. It was time to go to every build. It was time to go to every build and see what I need to get done. I looked around and I found some of the builds that I had done previously. I still hadn't done, let's say, the top windows, so I got them done. I filled in everything with glass that I could find. I then went back to my sandstone build, filled in the floors. It was going through and trying to find as much as I could to get done. I wanted to finish as much as I possibly could before 150 days. I needed to feel like I had done the work. I had put the effort in and I had something completed. So detailing was done, windows, stripping some wood that hadn't been stripped yet, putting in windowsills, trying to get a shape for the roofs. It was a long, arduous 3 days because I was just pushing. I also believe that I didn't sleep much through the nights. Like I'd have 2 minutes left of the night before I slept. Day 148 and 149. I put in moss in the floor to kind of complete the outside. I went around making sure all the houses were done properly, putting in doors, putting in the pillars that I like to put in some of my builds. If you notice that I put like a stone or cobblestone fence, and then in between it I put some sort of wood fence, and I put up against a pillar. I don't know why I do it. It just looks kind of cool. Gives me that like vibe of like medieval or something. I don't know. I really like it, and I just went through doing all the finishing touches. Anything that I didn't do in the last 3 days, because I had taken a pause. I had gone 145, 146, 147, then paused for about an hour to go have something to eat, have something to drink, then came back and was like, okay, list of things to do, let's go do them. I did have one moment though that I really enjoyed, which is when I knocked an ender off the edge. That felt good. That felt really good. I want to do it again. Day 150. I wanted to finish this off with a nice fishing session. I don't often do fishing sessions like when I'm doing any other series. I personally find it really peaceful and just wanted to have that moment because I had just done 50 days of work. And for me, someone who's terrible at surviving, someone who's not a pro at Minecraft, hardcore is stressful. It is hard, but I'm enjoying it. I feel accomplished when I finish it. Every 50 days, I start feeling accomplished. And as I've probably said in other videos, we're only going up to 20 in the commentary style. So I would be going from 50, 100, 150, 200. Once we hit 200, it will be via projects. So a project may take me 100 days. It may take me 10. It just depends. That's the way I want to do it. I like commentary, but I also like explaining what I'm doing as I'm doing it. I'm just that sort of person. I'm a physical learner. I need to do things my way, and as I'm doing them, people can give me advice. That's perfectly fine. And if you would like to give me advice, put comments down below. Put anything that will help me survive in hardcore. But it was just nice to sit back, relax, not have to worry too much, and just enjoy. We are back! We are back in the world on day 151. Now, I came back in this surprised I had lasted this long, and kind of scrambling a bit for what I wanted to do next. There were heaps of things I could do, but what did I want to do? And I was really feeling, because I'm so into fishing and so into getting, like, you know, a whole session or day just of sitting there and fishing, I wanted a place to do it. I wanted an indoor area, a place where I could just sit and fish inside my cave. So I decided to terraform out an area where I could, you know, do my little fishy fish. And there was a perfect spot, a perfect, beautiful spot. And I was like, yes, this is it. This right here, this little cave area is perfect. But I did need to create a more pool shape. And I definitely wanted to terraform it, add some decoration, give it levels and volumes, and of course, then fill it with water. On day 152, I realized I would have to fill in quite a few holes. There was a lot of holes around the pool, and I didn't want, you know, the water rushing down into there or having to light up certain areas. I just wanted a nice, clean build, so I spent most of the day actually filling in these holes, kind of making a nicer, like shape. If there was a hole that was too big, I definitely terraformed around it, and just trying to make it look more like a pool that's underwater instead of just, you know, a flat cavern that I decided to add water to, which was kind of hard. I also came up with some ideas of what I wanted to do to it, like adding some azalea bushes or leaves, or also adding some mud maybe later, like packed mud or something like that I have to go find, the lily pads and lanterns. There was quite a bit I could do with this, but I just didn't know what direction I wanted to go in. On a day 153, it was time to start spreading out the water. I had made a platform above all the bits and pieces, I did one layer of blocks above all the holes so that I could break it after I had spread out the water. It would be a lot easier in the long run. Fortunately, I didn't have enough blocks, so I did have to do it in increments, which wasn't very fun. I hate that moment when you're like, oh, do I not have enough blocks for this? Especially at the start. This is only 150 days. I didn't have many of the materials I needed for bigger projects, and I knew that it was going to take me some time to get them. I hadn't been to the end yet. I had barely touched the nether. It was a struggle. It was a struggle. But I knew that this would be the easy part of doing this build, is spreading out the water. And the most satisfying. Just that feeling of spreading out water and just then breaking it apart and creating this cute little pool. I also thought about finding axolotls. I hadn't seen any yet, but I hadn't even seen a lush cave, to be honest. But I knew there had to be one out there with lots of beautiful axolotl boys. On day 155, I came to the realization after checking my storage that I didn't have much dirt left. And a lot of what I do down in my cave was terraforming and nature, and I like that aspect of my buildings. So I needed to grab more dirt. It means I had to go up to the surface and get out my trusty unenchanted diamond shovel. Don't ask me why I didn't enchant things very often. I'm not entirely sure. I think it was because I hadn't been to the end yet, so end game stuff really wasn't on my mind at the time. And I just wanted to bring that environmental touch down to the deep, dank cave. That's it. That's all I wanted. I wanted nature. And in order to do that, I needed a lot of dirt. Or I could have used moss. Looking back on it now, like future friendlies looking back on it going, why didn't I just use moss and bone meal it a lot? But hey, future friendly has hindsight. Past friendly had no idea. On day 156, I would be eating my words. That's right, I actually did think of moss. I wrote down that I did think of moss later. I don't know why I wrote that down for future friendly to figure out. It's just like, hey, by the way, I did think of moss, I promise. No, I filled in a lot of the holes in the build because obviously around my buildings I would need to have something, so I decided to fill it with nature. It was a little bit of a cop-out. I've got to admit, putting gardens around a house is very much like I don't know what else to do. But hey, it worked, and I decided to fill the area with moss, clearing it out in case I wanted to put anything on it in future. I probably would just end up bone mealing it and making it all like rough and messy in the future, but for now I wanted to put in all the spare areas at least moss, grass, etc. That's what I pretty much spent the entire day doing. There are quite a few houses that need to be filled and quite a few holes. I soon came to an obvious realization on day 157 that I would need more bone meal. And because I hadn't found a skeleton spawner, which by this point I usually had found at least one spawner, I decided to make a bone meal farm using as many seeds as I could possibly find. I had a perfect little area, a little alcove in my storage where I was going to put the composter and just have something going down into it with a chest underneath to collect as much of the compost as I possibly could. The bone meal was important because I knew I was going to be doing a lot of nature-based parts to this build, as well as in future, probably going to need it a lot. I've built with bone blocks before, so there was a lot of reasons for this to happen. I was going to have to find a more, useful way to get bones, but for now, this is like the temporary, it's fine. We don't have any redstone stuff right now, so let's just do this and get it done. On day 158, we would find a use for all this bone meal. That's right, it was time to decorate the bottom of the pond. I love using bone meal at the bottom of ponds. I actually really enjoy the fact that in Bedrock, when you use bone meal in the bottom of water, it gives you coral. I think that's a great aspect, just bringing color to a lot of the builds and a lot of the water-based, naturey stuff. I'm a little annoyed that Java doesn't do this. It's just greenery, green, just greens, always greens. I would love if they put that into, into the Java version from Bedrock. I think there's a lot of aspects we can agree that where Bedrock is great, and it's the same with Java, where Java is great. But this is definitely something I would love to see come to Java. On day 159, I finished off the bone meal job, as well as pulling out some azalea leaves or I keep calling them bushes. I don't know why. Flowering azalea bushes and flowering azalea. I don't know why I call it that. I think I've always just kind of had it in my head because I use them for bushes so much. I don't really see them as leaves because they're just kind of like, even though they grow on trees. But I used them for decoration around the sides of the cave as well as on the water bank. I just like the idea of adding some more nature to it. I was also having a few issues with my shaders, which was a little annoying. Every time I went underwater, it went pitch black. I don't know why. It had dynamic lighting on the surface, but not underwater. So that made it very difficult to do any terraforming underwater for quite some time. And I can see it being annoying in the future, so I might have to figure out how to fix that. But yeah, I finally got to the land and started putting some more leaves around there. And I was even thinking about how I'm going to get more lily pads, because I just didn't have enough. And where a swamp area was, because I have been exploring, but I haven't been far enough that I found a swamp. Day 160! I went on my adventure for the lily pads. And I even downloaded a mod called Xeros Maps. I've been getting used to using mods a lot more, especially ones on client side. It's definitely something that I have really enjoyed, being able to know where biomes are, and it made it a lot easier to find lily pads. But I was on an adventure, and I may have gotten a bit bloodthirsty along the way. I realized I'd need, animals for... stuff and things, and but no, Xeros Maps definitely is something that I advise anyone to get, whatever game you're playing, whatever version I should say you're playing, modded or vanilla, and it just makes everything so much easier when it comes to finding stuff. It shouldn't be a struggle to find everything. The struggle and challenge should be, dungeons and stuff like that, which again, you should definitely download some data packs that help with a little bit of dungeoning and some structures. On day 161, I found the swamp. Well, actually, I found it the night of the last day, but I didn't really want to risk being in the swamp at nighttime, especially with witches and slimes and pretty much everything else. So I slept and waited to the next day. I also had a witch chasing after me. Very determined, in fact. Their hut was quite a decent bit away from where I slept. But nope, they still wanted me dead, and I could only oblige by helping them out with their wish to die. I also realized that my resource pack had made everything's eyes white. I'm not entirely sure why. It was kind of Herobrine and creepy, but I kept it. I thought it was fun. And collected as many lily pads I need. I think I ended up collecting 2 stacks of lily pads. It was a little annoying having to swim around to grab them, but I forgot to bring a boat, which I could have just crashed into them. Before I left, I actually collected a whole bunch of mud that I was going to add to the build, my little pond, and then I somehow stumbled upon a tower not too far away. I was like, oh, that looks interesting. I hadn't seen this structure before yet, but it was part of the Terralith data pack that I had been using. I'd added Structuratory onto it as well, so if you want to go check those out, the Star Labs data packs, definitely try them out. They're really cool, and they add a lot of like flavor to your worlds and make it just feel fresh and new. But yeah, this tower had a lot of wood, and I accidentally forgot that I had like that tree cutting mod, so I may have destroyed it. Day 162, I returned home with all my supplies, and I finally was able to lily pad and mud my way through this beautiful, beautiful little pond. And I realized that some glow squids had started to show up, which I really liked. I like glow squids. I don't think that they should have been, chosen over the other options. But hey, Dream wanted the glow squid, and Dream got the glow squid. I honestly don't know if Dream was to say now what he wanted, would it actually still win? I don't know the level of his popularity. I don't actually watch him very closely, and I don't particularly care, to be honest. So for me, it was just like, I wonder. Maybe not, maybe. I don't know his level of popularity anymore. But it was really nice to just place out all these lily pads I had collected, and I even started to consider putting some lanterns on the bottom of them just to light up the water below. I really didn't want the drown to show up while I was fishing, and I wasn't too sure of the mechanics of how cave water works when it comes to the drowned, or does it have to be oceans? I didn't really want to risk that either. So yeah, I definitely was making some plans to light this thing up. Light this baby up! On day 163 and 164, I realized that I was done with the pond. I didn't need to do anything more with it. So I started something new. Well, I kind of continued something old. I don't know. I went back and I decided, we need more buildings. I need to fix up the builds that I've actually mapped out. I had made a few frames that I hadn't actually continued with, and I really wanted to get back to those because I felt really sad that I had left them all alone. Plus, I realized that I had actually forgotten to put in doors in like half my builds. I don't know why. Doors are really easy to put in. I don't know what was going through my head when I just decided, no, nothing needs doors. Especially because I would be putting villages in this area at some point. And they needed doors. Especially if like zombies or skeletons decided to reign over this place. I needed them to be protected and safe. So I placed in all the doors, and then got back to making the new builds. I'll call them the new builds, because technically the frames were there, but there was nothing else. So they're not a build if it's just a frame, okay? Frame is the start of the build. Yeah. But yeah, I spent those 2 days making the new buildings. It was on a day 165 that I realized I had been using a lot of stone brick and stone, and some cobblestone as well, in my builds. However, I had run out of cobblestone. It wasn't something I was getting a lot of because I was actually in an andesite cave. I had a sheet ton of andesite, like way too much andesite. At some point, I'm going to have to make a build mainly made out of andesite. But until that comes around, my main issue I was running into is that I need more cobblestone. So I went out, made a new pick, which I decided I was going to enchant one. Because I always go, you know, I need a new pick and I'm not going to enchant it. I kind of mentioned that before, that until end game I forget to enchant things and just use what I have. Occasionally, if I'm nearby my enchantment table, I'll go, sure. But I made a new pick to get some more cobblestone. While I was down in the mines, I contemplated my life here, how everything was going, what I wanted to get done. Did I want to move on to the new area yet? The new area had been calling me for this entire time, yet I had not been there. But these are the thoughts that go through your head when you're mining out cobblestone. I'm going to be completely honest with you guys. On day 166, I kind of wanted to take a bit of a break. I had been through a few death scares recently, so I just want to take a little bit of a sit back. So I put in all of the stone to smelt, cobblestone to smelt down into stone so I could use it later. And then realized my dog was here, Cujo. I had found him recently. He was hidden underneath a road. But it was just nice to see Cujo and kind of take it all in. He's adorable, my little boy. So after a while of just kind of waiting for the stone, I decided to give my dog the pets, give him some food, and then just kind of chill out. It was just nice to have this break. I know a lot of the time it's about progress, but every now and then, especially if you're having a few close calls, just take a break. On day 167, after a nice little break, I decided to detail our new builds. There was a lot of things that went into detailing with me. I don't know why I so heavily detail things. I don't do it as much as the people on Hermitcraft. That's my defense. I don't do that kind of crazy stuff. Though I would like to get into that, you know? I would like to be able to detail it like a crazy person. I'm not calling them crazy or anything. Okay, I'm calling them a little bit crazy because the amount of building they do and the amount of time and effort they put into things and the concepts they come up with are insane. But yeah, I wanted to get some windowsills in, I wanted to get some pillars in, I wanted to get some lights in, some lamps. Well, I wanted to play around with it a little bit. Windows, you know, are it's important because you don't be like me. I'm sort of person who forgets to put in the glass in a window and then keeps using it as a door. I don't know why when I made a perfectly good door. It's a weird thing I keep doing. I had to do it in my one block world because they kept using the windows as doors. I was like, no, this cannot slide no longer. This cannot slide any further. But yes, maybe I'm the insane one. Maybe it isn't the Hermitcraft people. Maybe I'm the weirdo. That's probably correct. On day 168, I was able to prove how crazy I was. No, I'm kidding. I just had time to think over things because I decided to go down deep into my cave and get some deep slate. I was really lucky with my deep slate run. Like, in all honesty, you don't look for diamonds, but when they pop up, you're like, ooh, diamonds. I wasn't in the stage of, like, really needing diamonds, but when they were there. So I took them, and I got, like, 7 diamonds out of the first one. I believe I came away with like 16. But yeah, it was really nice. And I went around the like lower part of my cave and tried to like just get random stuff. I kept popping into ores, which I was collecting very quickly. But I then realized, oh wait, I'm supposed to get deep slate, aren't I? Oh yeah. So I kind of looked around for a nice area, like a cave to go deep into and just kind of start mining there. Something that wouldn't accidentally ruin any of my builds, wouldn't be affecting any future builds. I just didn't want there to be a whole strip, or 5 strips sometimes, of mined out area that I'd have to fill in later. Plus, you know, sitting there with my thoughts, again, you know, cobblestone was pretty bad with my thoughts, but deep slate, well, that takes longer to mine. So, you know, that was intense, you know. I started thinking about what it'd be like to actually fall into lava, like in real life. Would that be painful? Of course. Like, no, it's not even a question. But what kind of pain? Is it like burning and crispy? Does your skin like lose all receptors after a while so that you actually don't feel the pain as much? Or is it just like an overarching pain? See, this is why we can't have nice things. Friendly is busy thinking about, you know, burning alive. This is what happens. This is why I don't do material collection things usually on camera, because there's no point. I just think of the weirdest shit when I do. On day 169, And day 170, I can't not do that, you know? It's 69. It's a funny number. It doesn't matter how old I get, I will always find that number funny, and it will not stop. But yeah, on day 169, 170, I decided to place in all the lampposts that I had been neglecting for quite some time. I don't really like torches, to be honest, unless it's for like aesthetic purposes. I don't like them for light. I like creating some sort of light apparatus. And for me, the torches, I had created a design that I liked, so I was going around and trying to fill it in. I personally didn't think it would be this annoying to build them, but it's worth it, you know? It's worth it. It's worth having something that isn't just torches on the ground. I am not a torch fan. I'm a lantern fan. I wish there were more variations of the lantern. I don't understand why they haven't been added in. They've been added in modded. Like, there's some great torches in modded. But I definitely think we need more light sources than just the 4 things. And yes, you can say, well, there's not just 4. Some things light up, like the glow lichen. Yeah, not enough. Not enough light. I need more light. There's the glow... Oh, no, there's 5. Glow shroom, glowstone, the sea block, lantern, and torches. Am I right? Those are the only ones I can think of. There's probably more. There's probably more blocks that light up. But yeah, I mean, technically the beacon is, doesn't it? It gives off light. Anyway. I spent the 2 days filling in all these lampposts, and you're probably thinking, that's not very much for 2 days. They're a little fiddly. I had to go get scaffolding to put them on top, and this area that I'm showing you right now isn't the only area where they need to be placed. They had to be placed around the pond as well, and they had to be placed on the opposite end of this area. So there were more than just this. Day 171. After realizing that I've been working a lot with oak lately in my new builds, the ones I'm trying to complete, I didn't have that many oak logs. I had a decent amount of dark oak and a decent amount of spruce because they're easy to get. They're like the spruce ones, you can make giant trees. The dark oak ones, however, well, they're a little bit, yeah, they're a little bit more fiddly, but you get a heaps of them. So I was just a bit like, okay, I need to get out and get some oak. And yes, I know this is another collecting materials day, but honestly, it's better than spending days and days or being that person that goes out and gets just the right amount of oak for their build. Just the right amount of oak. And then comes back and has to go out again. Like 5 different days where they're just going out and getting stuff and then building. But yeah, I did know I need to, so went out and got some. On day 172, I actually set myself a goal. I realized that I had left the bridge kind of broken this entire time. It wasn't that I didn't want to finish. It was just kind of, I didn't know what to do with it. I felt that I could build something on the other end of that bridge, but the more time that has gone on and the hours that I have put into this world, I have realized I don't really know what to put over there, nor do I feel like something would fit there now. It's kind of going into the wall. You see it like this. The bridge just kind of goes into the middle of nowhere. So I made the quick decision to just block it off. It didn't need to go anywhere. It didn't need to, and though I'd be losing a little bit of materials and probably miss out on a really cool build, I kind of thought of it like a dock where you overlook the water. But in this case, you're overlooking the darkness of the cave. All I had to do was go get some more materials and then fill in the space. It was, again, a little annoying to do, and I did feel like I was giving up something, which I don't even know what it would have been. A mansion? A tower? I'm not even too sure now. But it was for the best. It was for the best, and sometimes you have to give up plans that you know you're never going to do and just move on. On day 173, I did one of my favorite things. Terraforming! That's right, the grassy areas were finally all filled in from earlier in this episode, and also the grass has started to sprout out a bit more, so I was able to finally go in and do some terraforming. And remember when I told you about this mossy area? Yeah, that's right. I decided it was time. I wanted to put some trees around too, and as much as I would love to make the custom trees, because I love making custom trees, and yes, they're actually really fiddly, difficult, time-consuming, it would have taken me like 3 or 4 days just to get all the trees that I needed in. So I just settled on azaleas. Just the azalea trees and just planting them and doing some bone meal jobs. Day 174. I got a little bit bored. I gotta admit, I did get a little bit bored because I had been in the same area for so many days. I wanted to switch it up a bit, so I headed over to the second part of my build, or the new area, a bigger area, I like to call it, and I worked on the entrance to the new area. I decided, you know what, let's just start doing some work here. It's not going to kill me. It's not going to kill me. But I definitely wanted to do some work on the entrance, because the entrance was looking a little bit like a tunnel that had just burst out of a wall. And I just wanted to fill in the area, kind of make it a bit more of a block or like a rectangle cylinder, rather than actually just yeah, the slabs were great looks-wise, but from the outside, it definitely looked like I hadn't done any decoration yet, so I just wanted to fix it up, make it look good. It did take a little bit of fiddling, because I had to get the right dimensions and the right materials, and I did end up having to go back and get some more stone brick, which was a little annoying, but I really came with something I did like, and I did actually appreciate after it was done. Day 175 and 176 was spent clearing out the new area. That's right, I was sticking to it. I don't know why. I just decided to dig my heels in and go, yep, the new area, I'm doing some work on the new area, it's happening. Unfortunately, there was a lot of andesite in the way. There was a big wall of andesite where I wanted to place some builds, so that did mean I had to spend 2 days mining the entire thing out. I was very happy to have an efficiency 4 pick at the time. I would have a better one later, but for now, this was good. This was good. I was happy. And I had to do it kind of like layer by layer, which was a little annoying, but I put on some Supernatural, the TV series, and just got it done. You know, just went into it. It was really nice. I find it peaceful clearing things away, but I do get into my thoughts. And luckily, Supernatural was there. So I was focused on that rather than on my deep, dark urges to throw myself off this kind of cave cliff thing. And yes, in-game, guys. Definitely in-game. Day 177. I used this day to map out the area. I did take a few moments to kind of pause and think, because like I wasn't entirely sure what I was going to build here. I got a little bit of inspiration from some of my older builds. There was a really old build that I built on stream. There was an underground build where it was just like kind of almost New York like apartment block, kind of scrunched into each other. I remember also seeing Grian from Hermitcraft building something kind of like this. I was going to do something more blocky and more to the style of what I've been building in the other areas. Otherwise, I would have tried out Grian's style of building. And yes, I'm sure that Grian was inspired by someone else, and whoever they were inspired by, if I knew, I would shout them out as well, but I don't know. And it was definitely just kind of looking over some designs of my old stuff and looking through screenshots and going, yep, that's it, that looks good. But it was definitely too fiddly for me. My brain was like, I can't, but at least I had the area mapped out. On day 179, 180, 181, 182, and 183. This was the biggest part of this project. This episode was kind of leading up to making something big, and this was my big thing for this episode. Making an apartment block that was kind of finished as much as I needed it to be right now, and really using as much as what I had learned from the other area to bring it to here. I used all the terracottas that I had collected already. I used different types of wood. I wanted to make levels. I wanted to make different shapes. There was a lot of things I wanted to do with this, and it took me that many days to kind of get it to a point where I was happy with it. I would have to come back and detail it later, but I feel like that would be for the future. For now, I wanted to build it and just do something new. I was feeling a bit stagnant at building the same frames and everything and not trying anything different. So I wanted to do some more levels and something where they connect. And I was thinking of doing other stuff, like maybe making it so that there was a tunnel or a passageway of some kind that connected to another. Either way, I was continually watching the Supernatural, which was at the time I think it was based in a New York episode or Manhattan. So I was very much inspired by all the buildings I was seeing, and I found it very funny that it kind of influenced what I started to build. Maybe don't watch Supernatural and start building in Minecraft. I don't know. Maybe I'll start building demons and angels in my next build. On day 184, I again was taking another break. After doing so much work on one build, I just wanted to go up to the surface a bit, touch grass, you know, fake grass, of course, in-game grass, in-game. I just wanted to go around, do a little bit of farming, kind of interact with my villagers, do some peaceful stuff. I'd spent so much time just building that I just needed a break. I really did. I hung out with my sheep. I went out and decided that I need some more wool, some beds for a later project. So, you know, when exploring for sheep to murder, not murder, bring mercy to. I actually put in my notes, I did put sheep mercy. That's all it says. Sheep mercy. I don't exactly know what kind of mercy, but are they zombie sheep? I guess they're Herobrine sheep. Have you seen their eyes? They're Herobrine sheep. You gotta put down the Herobrine sheep before they turn into Herobrines. Day 185, I actually stumbled upon a mine, which was crazy. I actually fell through an area, almost died, and found this cave. I think it was a ravine I fell through. Pretty sure it was a ravine. I found this beautiful cave with a lot of mining areas. This is so good, so good. I got a little bit scared though, I have to admit, because I was watching a horror movie at the time. So I was focusing on that, so every jump scare actually made me jump in the game, which was a little funny. But I took the time to get as much coal, iron, and pretty much anything that was around. I got some lapis as well, which was nice. But yeah, it was definitely so lucky to find that mine. I just wish it had more chests. I think I had found one, which was a little disappointing, you know? Although I didn't explore it too well, so that might have been my fault. Day 186, day 187, and day 188, I did something that I was, you know, not looking forward to. I had seen many Minecraft episodes where people were trying to move their villagers into their village, and they were using minecarts. So my dumb brain thought, oh, this should be easy. All I have to do is move villagers into minecarts. This should be fine. I'll make a minecart track that goes from my big dirt box inside my village all the way into my village itself. I made a few mistakes. I will say there were a few very obvious mistakes. One was I hadn't actually made a clear path there yet. Number two is I put them on top of a roof instead of on the ground, which I later then rectified. And number three is that I didn't realize how many villages I had, and I had to keep going back and making minecarts, which was a lot of iron. It put me in a lot of pain. I have never been in a situation where I've had to make a minecart thing go to villages. I know I've been playing the game for a while now. Never dealt with that. Just I think I used to do a dirt path, like a path that was they'd have to go through, and then just put water that kept pushing them. Ice. For some reason, minecarts never popped into my head because I obviously don't use my brain. But it was definitely an experience, and I can promise no villagers were harmed in the making of this railway track. Yeah, there definitely no villagers were harmed in the making of this railway track. I ended up spending day 189 cleaning up the mess I had made with the minecart. It was pretty bad. I used a lot of the terracotta, and I had to make a staircase down into my cave, which had to be removed, as well as finally breaking down the dirt pile, I guess you could call it, that I had kept them in for so long. It has been 80 days, more than that I have kept them in there. I did put them in there at like the 10 or 15, I can't remember, but they've been in there for over 100 days, and I feel bad for them, okay? I had trapped them in there, just occasionally coming to visit them, give them some water, you know, family visits and such. I felt bad, but their prison was gone. They were free. They were free to roam the land that I had created. Probably most of them would be killed by zombies and skeletons, but hey, that's what breeding is for. You know, survival of the fittest and overpopulation so that most of the population that you want will survive, you know? It's definitely how it is. I could also, you know, think more into it. So when I make another video, I might actually look into making a safe area for them or locking them in their houses. I mean, that's also an option. You know, going from a box that you're locked into to house arrest, I guess. Day 190. I wanted to try and attempt to do some interiors. So my idea of that was making stairs. Yeah, I don't know. I put down, I attempted to make some interiors, got distracted by stairs. So I made some stairs in some of the houses so that the villagers could reach the upper floors. I did my best to try to make them look good, and then putting some beds up the top so they'd actually have places to sleep, because I realized I had more villagers than beds. Yeah, I had to, you know, make some more with that wool that I had collected. Felt really good about that. I also realized that some of the upper areas in the houses I hadn't put roofs on. I don't know why. I think I had ideas for them, but I just never went back to it, so they never got done. Which meant I got to go and fix them up. I had quite a few pieces to fix up, actually, and some more things to detail over the next couple of days. I had 10 days left, and I wanted to get this as completed as possible. And honestly, I had some ideas. Day 191 and 192, it actually says I started doing the interiors. I know, I'm in shock. I have to see it to believe it. I completely forgot that I actually did this too. By the way, looking back on this, I'm like, oh yeah, I did do that, didn't I? I did really simple stuff. I was like, I'm not going to put too much effort into this. My brain cannot handle interiors. I don't know why. I'm good at exteriors of houses, not interiors. But I wanted to make the place look a little bit more welcoming for the cute little villagers with their hollow Herobrine eyes. You know, it's important to make them feel welcome to this place. Yeah. All are welcome. Welcome to the village where none of you are going to die. I did promise them that when I got them in here via minecarts, that I wouldn't kill them. But yeah, I went through and did a whole bunch of interiors on day 991 and 192. On day 193 and 194, I actually came across a house that I hadn't properly done the inside of. I didn't know that the house looked like this, as I had completely forgotten. It was the one next to the giant fish tank. When I went inside, I realized that I had just made the outside of the house. I had a whole bunch of andesite kind of blocking the way, which I did remove, and then I replaced the walls with the black terracotta and the dark oak on the ground for the flooring. It was nice to see it completed, especially because of it being this way for, as I said, over 190 days. It just kind of, you know, just sat there looking ugly. It was like the unwanted stepchild that I forgot that existed. But I got back to it. I looked after it. You know, you don't need to call house protective services on me now. It was also nice to just do some inside work that was more peaceful and not so, okay, we need this material, we need that material. Because a lot of the time you need fences, slabs, trapdoors, buttons, and I'm just like, okay, I need to fit these all into my hotbar. This one was just doing the flooring and walls. Day 195. We were coming to an end. I knew that. I knew we were getting close to the end. And I still had a few projects I wanted to get done. One of them was bone mealing the small floating platforms next to the bridge. I wanted to make them a bit more nature filled. I filled them with some azalea trees, just bone mealed a bit, tried to clear it up a tiny bit to make it look a little less wild, a little more controlled, like it was being pruned by a gardener every so often. But yeah, I wanted to do the two sections right next to the bridge, trying to give them that beautiful natural feeling. I definitely love working with nature in my builds. I love adding terraforming and trying to blend the environment with man-made. And honestly, I love moss blocks. It's probably one of my favorite blocks, moss blocks, just because of the many different aspects it has, how it looks, how it works, the fact it's a grass alternative. It's great. And I was really happy to kind of, you know, get all the nature in. Like having a little park next to the bridge and then having these two like grassy areas. I was basically transforming the cave into something a lot nicer. I would love to get a picture of what it used to look like before and what it looks like now and see the transformation, but I don't know if I have a picture. And it's unfortunate. I really should have done that. That would have been so cool to look back on now. But who knows? I could recreate the world in another save and then come and take a picture, you know? There's possibilities. There's possibilities to be had. Day 196, 197, and 198. Now, it was time. It was time to finish off the buildings. Adding the finishing touches, finishing walls, putting in windows, putting in glass, adding doors, making sure the roofs are right. There was a lot of stuff that needed to get done in these couple days. And I just wanted to, you know, get it over and done with. I knew that the end was coming. We were about to hit 200 days. The series would change. The format would change. I would no longer be doing these commentaries after the fact. We'd be doing live commentaries, and those would be a bit different. I can't just comment on what I did before. It's gonna be an experience of doing it in the moment, and if I make mistakes, I make mistakes. I can't go back and fix them up beforehand, and if I say something stupid, I'm gonna say something stupid. So those were the thoughts that were running through my head as I was getting everything ready for the final couple days. On day 199, I was pretty much done. I walked around my build, had a look at everything I had created, everything I had made, and I was proud of myself. especially in hardcore. There had been many times I had almost died. There had been many times I almost gave up. I had taken a 6-month break at some point. It was a lot. I feel like the stress of hardcore is real. We talk about it as if it's not a thing, like, oh, get good son kind of vibes, but it's real. And I decided for the last day, well, second last day, that I would show you guys what I had built through some replay mod, like, captures. So, enjoy. Well, guys, we have come to the end. That's right, we've come to the end of this episode and this hardcore. We have gone from day 151 to 200, or 150 to 200, technically. And it has been so nice to finally finish an area. There is so much more I can do, and so much more I can do in the future. This is the longest I have lasted in a hardcore world, and I have been a lot more careful, a lot more strategic, a lot smarter. And I really enjoyed myself. I think if we do continue this series, I want to push myself. I want to make some redstone. I want to make some bigger builds, some better builds, and I definitely want to tackle that new area. I did a tiny bit in it this episode, but I really feel that we could go even further with it. Maybe even make like a roller coaster or some kind of like track somewhere, train station, something cool. Something just that will make me go, ooh, and bring back the passion that I have been doing. On day 200, by the way, I spent it fishing, as I always do. I like a good fishing session, just sitting getting some fish. It was nice. I did forget to pull in the fish a few times, but that was on me. Anyway, guys, I do want to say thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for being part of your friendly neighbor noob community, and thank you so much for being part of this episode. If you've made it all the way to the end, you're amazing. You're wonderful. You're part of the community, and I appreciate you as a neighbor. You're a good neighbor, you know? Really should put your praise on that town billboard, you know? I do also want to say, if you like these videos, don't forget to like, subscribe, share with all your friends. Don't forget to eat spaghetti, and check out the Discord. We've actually opened up a server called the Neighborhood SMP. I don't really mention this very often. I don't think I've mentioned it in many of my videos, in fact. It's a public server. You can come build there. I'll be on there. My friends will be on there. The people from Hourglass and Core SMP will be on there. So yeah, it's really just an open area for you guys to hang out. We could look into builds. We can do whatever everybody pretty much want. Now we'll hopefully be hosting events and mini games, but we'll see. Anyway, guys, thank you so much, and I will see you in the next video for Hardcore Minecraft. At some point, I don't know when. It will come out probably next month. We'll do one a month because it is going to be big. Like Hardcore Minecraft is big. There's no way to do a small version of Hardcore Minecraft. That's just silly. Anyway, bye.